This is Gareth Thomas and you're listening to Six Towns Radio.
Broadcasting to Stoke-on-Trent and the world. This is Six Towns Radio.
With the Excel Academy in Sneyd Green, it's Terry Bosses for Six Towns Radio, and I'm with Welsh rugby legend Gareth Thomas. How are you doing? You okay?
I'm very well, thank you very much.
And we're here to talk about the Balls to Bullying campaign. How did you get involved with that?
Well, I work for a company called Prospero, and I've been doing a lot of work in schools on things like aspiration, motivation, teamwork, and I just found that this, even though nobody wants to talk about it, there is still kind of a small amount of bullying going on. So it's more of an awareness really of what bullying is about, and a lot of the understanding of names, because a lot of us engage our mouths before we engage our brains, especially a lot of the pupils. So it's understanding the effects that them words have on them. So it literally came from my experiences from working in schools and just thinking this is another thing I feel as an outside influence. You can come in and rather be in the teacher's voice all the time, a different person with a different story and a different voice come in and hopefully kind of just nailing the message, because the kids know bullying is wrong, but I think it's just maybe nailing the message and understanding that, you know, everybody is susceptible to bullying, no matter kind of how big, strong, tough, how you perceive them to be. Everybody is a possible victim of bullying. Yeah,
and your story itself is quite inspirational. So you're bringing out the tales when you were younger and some of the experiences you had. Is it difficult to go back?
No, it's not really difficult, because I feel it's something that hopefully benefits the children. So I feel, you know, if it's the sake of going back for the sake of going back, then ultimately, yeah. But you know, I talk about it in a really, because it's in a small space of time, because it's not about really my experiences too much. Is about moving forward and for the children to understand. But all I want the children to realise really is that actually I'm not talking up there because I know wrong from right. I'm talking up there because I know wrong from right, but ultimately because I was a victim of bullying myself. So, you know, I think maybe that opens the children's minds up a little bit to the fact that they see somebody who potentially had everything he ever dreamt of. So ultimately makes him almost superhuman, and the reality is completely different.
Yeah, one of the problems with bullying is the person that's being bullied might not speak up, and you've said yourself in a couple of years to actually say something. So one of the important messages to get out there is who to speak to.
And that's the thing. I think it's, you know, doing it in a school environment where the children feel safe, but also doing it with the teachers around them, and for the children to recognise that, you know, the first thing they should do is speak to an adult, whether that be a parent or potentially a teacher. And when you're in an environment of school, then ultimately the teachers are the ones who create that safe environment. So you know, it's trying to instill the fact that the teachers are in here, they're standing next to you, they're part of this assembly with you, they're the ones who are really close to you, who will help you. So, you know, and it's not about me telling them, it's about them telling me the people that they should go to. Because if I ultimately told them, then it's not first thought for them, and I want it to be their first thought, that actually they realise that we're in an environment now where you can say the teachers are standing next to you and the teachers are the people you can trust. Yeah,
well, you've been speaking in front of the people today, and just to speak to you, they find it quite difficult. You know, actually talking to an adult, it must be really difficult for them to get it across.
Yeah, you know what, it is difficult, and especially from, you know, potentially say year 9 up, when, you know, when the children are in their own environment and you can't stop them talking. But you put them in an environment that's a little bit different than talking about something that's a little taboo, then it becomes very difficult for them to talk. So, you know, for me to do it, like I said, I need their feedback, and I need them to understand that they're the ones who have to be telling me, not the ones telling them. So it does take a while. It is kind of like pulling teeth sometimes when you want to get the answers out of the children. But ultimately, do you know what? If the children are not willing to open up, then ultimately you have to give a little bit more, just so that the message can be drummed home. And sometimes you have to kind of initiate them and start saying certain things, and then all of a sudden they will start opening up a little bit. But ultimately for me, it's about me telling them the message. If they're not going to say anything to me, then ultimately I'll just carry on with the message I have to give, and hopefully when they leave here they'll have learned something from me. Whereas ultimately I want them to leave here having learned something about themselves from themselves.
You use sports to help conquer the depression that bullying can bring, and it is a great way to meet new friends and get yourself out.
It is, and ultimately, you know, we look at a school environment as you know, as almost, you know, sometimes an environment that is unique, but ultimately it's very much a team environment within school. You know, when you're in the class, if you're the disruptive one, then you're disrupting the team. You know, if you're in the playground, if you're the disruptive one, you're disrupting the rest of the school around you. So, you know, school is an environment which is a platform for helping you in the real world, and that's the kind of scenarios and situations I'm trying to create. And if people can visualise the real world within schools, then when they enter the real world, it's not as scary. So, you know, as I said, to be a part of a team in the real world when you work is almost essential. You have to be part of a team, because whatever job you get into, you're going to be part of a team. And ultimately, to be a good team member, then you have to be able to treat everybody with respect and treat everybody right. Therefore, if there is no bullying, then it's not really a problem. But then it's all about them learning how to deal with other people. You know, because in school you can go with your own group and kind of people that you don't get on with in different areas, but when you're in a work environment, sometimes that can be difficult. So it's about, you know, understanding people's differences and kind of celebrating and being okay with people's differences.
Okay, yeah. The BBC documentary about your life, again, you had to reflect and go through all your career. Was that therapeutic for you as well?
Well, yeah, that actual documentary, even it lasted, I think it was an hour, but it took like 10 months to make, because we were going to times I needed time to recover over it, because it's not, you know, it's not an easy process to kind of keep going back all the time. So yeah, it was a long, difficult process, but ultimately, when you see a final result of something, then you realise, you know, the hard work and the stuff that goes into it is always worthwhile. That's the thing with this. Even though, you know, these are really long days for me, hopefully the effects that I have as an end product make, you know, the long days and the repetitiveness worthwhile, because, you know, you have to treat every people as an individual, because ultimately that's what they are. They're individuals who just be thrown collectively together as a team.
Yeah, you've become friends with Mickey Rourke, who said he wants to make it into a film.
No, it's gonna be made into a film. Like, Mickey's part of the process. There's other big people who are involved in it. I think Mickey's just been the one who's kind of been the one where the press have kind of targeted and gone to him. But yeah, you know, it's a great honour, but ultimately, like I said again, for me, a lot of the things I do in my life are all because I want to kind of leave kind of a good legacy of somebody who goes through what everyone goes through in life, goes through down times but managed to find his way out. And, you know, whether that be sexuality or anything else, it's what everyone goes through. So, you know, for me, it's just a positive message that people can maybe gain something positive from my life.
There's the play as well, which is called Crouch, Touch, Pass, Engage.
Crouch, Touch, Pause, Engage.
Oh, sorry, I thought I'd write it down and I've wrote it down wrong.
That's right, Crouch, Touch, Pause, Engage,
And again, that's about your life story, and about Bridgend as well, where you were brought up, which has got a bad reputation in the media, suicide that have been there, and you know what it's like there, and having a play that sort of puts it out to a wider audience.
So, you know, I was part of the actual creative process of writing the play, so for me, I've got a massive passion for it. So yeah, it's kind of an understanding, I think, where we are as a society really nowadays, in that, you know, in so many towns you go to, there's so little things for the children to do, and I think it's an understanding that when I was growing up, all I ever wanted to do was stay in Bridgend. When we, you know, did the interview process with so many children growing up in Bridgend, now all they ever want to do is leave. And it's kind of understanding why so many towns have come to this, you know, towns and cities around the world, or especially in the UK, have come to this position where we're trying to help our youth and help our youngsters, yet they feel that there's nothing in the towns or cities for them to stay. So what are they going to put back into the town and cities if all they ever want to do is leave? So for me, it was a really interesting process, especially speaking to people, you know, with the suicides, and, you know, and having the compassion and the empathy with them people, and realising what, you know, thinking my life is bad, but, you know, understanding how other people, and finding strength in how other people get through certain things as well.
It's just great the fact you are doing this as well.
I love it. I do love it, mate. I really do, because, you know, I really do feel that, you know, I have a big responsibility, and something I take very serious is about helping to ensure that people, you know, don't feel left out, or don't feel bullied, or don't get to feel different. And if I can, you know, if I give up my time to do things that potentially help them people, then, you know, that time given up by me is more than worthwhile.
Thank you very much.
No worries, pal.